Hi everyone, welcome to week 8 of Lit 215. This week we are focusing our theme not on a idea, but on a type of multicultural literature that I am very passionate about. It's called spoken word poetry. And we're also going to talk about your literary project final drafts. So I hope you guys are excited to sort of wrap up our course. I know the last 8 weeks have been, fast and furious, but hopefully it's going to be a good, strong finish. So let's go ahead and get started. So the assignments you have for this week, we have a couple familiar, discussion board, reading reflection, and then you've got a final reflection, a very short typed writing, just kind of answering some questions about our class. This is pretty easily graded. You do the reflection well, get the points for it. You don't turn it in or don't do it well, you don't. So this should be pretty easy. And then your literary project final draft is due Tuesday, May 17th. You can, of course, turn these in early, but I wanted to give you a couple extra days after Sunday to get them wrapped up. So, your discussion board for this week is a peer review of those literary project drafts that were due in week 7. So, by Tuesday, please post your draft, just a file of it that others can open, and then make sure you peer review 2 other classmates' drafts by Friday. The peer review is going to be in the format of something called describe, evaluate, and suggest. So it literally could be just a paragraph, very short, where you first describe what you see in the project, evaluate it by saying, I think this was good, I think maybe this could be stronger, and then finally give a suggestion for what you think the writer or student can do to improve it. And I think doing this will also help you think about your own projects. So these are our assignments for this week. These are our final assignments for Lit 215. So make sure that you get these turned in, and then we will be completely done with our course. So as far as the readings for this week, our theme is focusing on spoken word poetry. And I wanted to focus here because spoken word is a very popular and unique type of multicultural literature that I think a lot of people don't get exposed to in class. I went to my first poetry, spoken word event when I lived in Austin, Texas in 2013, and was incredibly moved by what I saw. So spoken word poetry is essentially on its face, it is poetry that's performed, but it developed through oral storytelling traditions that were very common in African American and Native American cultures specifically. This kind of gave way to what was called the American Beat Poet movement in the 1940s and 1950s. And that has developed into what we now know as spoken word. So spoken word poems are often characterized by rhyme, repetition, wordplay, and improv. So I'm always, whenever I see spoken word performed, I'm always incredibly impressed with both the sort of performance aspect of the poem as in addition to the words itself. And I feel like spoken word really brings poetry alive, and it has influences of music as well. So you might think to yourself, oh, this is similar to maybe like rap or hip hop, and it is, but the two are not exactly the same. So often spoken word discusses issues of race, politics, community, things that are happening right now, and I think that it's a really great way that multicultural literature is moving into popular culture. And that's why I wanted you guys to look at it this week. So the first reading, or one of the first readings you're gonna have, is to read Amanda Gorman's poem, The Hill We Climb. So Amanda Gorman was the youngest inaugural poet to perform at a presidential inauguration. She performed at Joe Biden's inauguration. And you can either read the text that I've uploaded, or if you wanna search YouTube for her, the video of her performance. It's really very powerful spoken. So her piece draws on speeches from Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, other poems that you've probably heard, and also Maya Angelou, whose work we've read this semester. She's actually wearing a ring at the inauguration that featured a caged bird, which is a reference to Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. So in addition to that, her piece really discusses very current racial and community issues in the US, and pulls on the insurrection on January 6th of that year, and just these, these dichotomies of unity and division, of of fighting and together. And I think that her piece is just really powerful. So I'd like you guys to take a look at that and then reflect on that in your reading this week. In addition, I'd like you to pick 2 videos from a site called Button Poetry. So I linked both their website and some playlists on YouTube. So Button Poetry is an independent poetry company based out of Minneapolis. They're one of the most popular in the US for their spoken word especially. So they essentially just feature videos of spoken word performances, and I am just giving you guys free reign. Pick 2 videos, and then in your reading reflection, just tell me about it. What did you watch? What do you think? What kind of feelings you get? And then that'll be our last reflection for this week. So besides the readings for this week on spoken word and the discussion board where we're going to peer review, you do want to spend some time this week revising your final projects. So I am going to get your drafts back to you, hopefully Monday or Tuesday. So use my feedback. I usually give pretty specific feedback of what I'd like to see changed. Make sure you read over the assignment sheet again, and then look at the project rubric, which there's a screenshot here. When you pull up the assignment on Blackboard, you should see a button that says View Rubric, and I'm going to encourage you all to click that and then read through how I grade your project so that you know exactly what I'm looking for. Ultimately, you want to put yourself in the shoes of your reader. Are you making the connections between these readings? Does your reader understand where you're coming from and also the kind of point you're trying to make with your projects? And then where does your own experience fit in to your piece? So as long as you're incorporating all of the readings that you found in some way, synthesizing from them, making connections between them, sort of comparing and finding differences as well, I think that your personal experience or your personal analysis is fine alongside that. So don't feel like you have to have a really kind of scientific tone or be as formal as you might be for another course. What I'm really looking for is that you've analyzed these readings and that you've walked away with something from them. All right, so really look at that rubric. I have a screenshot on this next slide, but I know it's kind of difficult to read. But there are kind of 10 pieces of the project that I'm looking for. The format, if you have a PowerPoint, do follow kind of my guidelines for that. Is your theme or your driving question clear? Do you include all the readings? Are you synthesizing ideas? As in, are you, coming to some kind of conclusion? Don't just tell me what these readings are about, but tell me why they're important. Is it organized? Are you showing critical thinking? This cultural appreciation category, just, how are you showing me that you can understand and appreciate other cultures from your own? Have you revised your project? Is it edited well? Is your formatting good? So really, this is kind of a checklist of, okay, does your project hit these things? And if so, then you'll get the points for that section. So I really want to encourage you to be creative and to really go deep into the themes that you've chosen. I'm not looking for surface level observations about these pieces, but I really, really, really want to know how you've connected to them and what you've gained from them in your understanding of multicultural literature. All right, so once you've done that, the very last thing we got is a final course reflection. So this is going to be a short writing, about 2 to 3 pages, where I want you to reflect on your experience in Lit 215. Just tell me what you've learned. Where have you grown? What was challenging? Why? Was it super easy? And why do you think that was? What are you kind of taking away from our course? And then feel free to also comment on the course content for me. Is there anything you would like to see more of? Is there anything that you wish we had done but didn't have time for? How was the pacing? Did you like the anthology that we had? All of that I welcome in this reflection. So just essentially tell me your thoughts on the course, all right? So hopefully this is pretty easy, just some words on paper, but I know that the last, week or so of the semester is really stressful. So I wish you all the best. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. You can email me. I'm also available on Teams this week. But don't forget, your final project is due May 17th, and these other assignments are due either Friday or Sunday. All right, so thank you guys for being so amazing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your projects.